jamming, ain't you?
Boy, yeah, I get riled up when I hear that song. So anyway, welcome everybody to another episode of. Oops, would help if I have my microphone. Okay, here we go. Welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I am your host Brian Parker, along with my co-host Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
Not well.
Uh-oh.
So everybody knows I'm a huge Hornets fan as well. So I've been trying to watch the games.
Okay.
I have Dish Network, which does not contain Bally Sports. So Bally Sports makes you get the app that you have to pay for in order to watch Hornets games.
What?
It is the absolute worst app I have ever used in my entire existence. Anybody listening out there, Bally Sports app, stay away from it. It's awful. It is god awful. It's terrible. And the thing is, if you're a Dish customer, you have no other option to watch the game other than Bally Sports Ops.
Wow.
What are you a customer of? Time Warner?
Yeah, Spectrum.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
So listen, brother. In order for me to watch Hornet games, I might have to use your login credentials just so I could see it on computer.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Listen, I barely get to watch any TV, and it's now November 1st. I already caught my wife. Came in the other day watching the damn Hallmark channel, and it was a damn Christmas movie on.
Oh, here we go with that.
Starring Winnie from the Wonder Years, Danica McKellar.
Yeah.
I said, I can't believe. Oh yeah, it's already time. It is not time. Y'all want it to be time.
Skip right over Thanksgiving.
Can we please have Halloween and Thanksgiving before I have to walk into my house and see movies with Christmas trees on? Please. Please. Because she'll watch one a day. And I'd be like, listen, I can go ahead and tell you how it's gonna end. The little guy, the young guy that always sits in his office on Christmas and don't know nothing about Christmas, gonna meet the little young poor girl that's decorating his house. They're gonna fall in love, and she gonna teach him the meaning of Christmas. Blah blah blah. There you go. Now you don't have to commit 2 hours of your life to watching this foolishness. Now she's still gonna do it, even though I gave her the synopsis and everything I said is gonna happen. But it's just interesting that they have that much programming for the entire season, and it's not even the season. I shouldn't even aid in the bet in that. It's not Christmas, y'all. I got friends on Facebook posting, "Oh yeah, November 1st coming. We're gonna start putting lights up." Don't do it.
I know it, man.
Don't do
Skip
it.
right over Thanksgiving.
Just listen. I like Cowboy fans to know when it's Christmas because by then they're normally mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So if you start putting the lights and stuff up now, they might get confused and start talking about next year because they're gonna think this year already over. I'm just kidding. That's just how it happens. You know, by Christmas, they're done. It's a wrap. So if y'all put that stuff out too early, then them Cowboy fans gonna believe their season already over because they know what happens around Christmas. Jermaine says, "I'm looking for a woman to teach me the meaning of Christmas." Well, Jermaine, it's about giving. It's about giving and receiving. So anyway, I'll leave it there because it's a sports show. This ain't Empower After Dark. Yeah, good luck with that, Jermaine. Yeah, you will definitely learn the meaning of Christmas. Anywho's, hey y'all, before we get started into the show, thank y'all for tuning in. We are streaming live and direct on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, as well as LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, check it out, Empower TV on YouTube. Click that bell. It'll let you know anytime that we go live or add any content to the channel. And please like, share, and also subscribe, as that does help with our algorithm. You guys also make sure if you're in the Charlotte area that you check out the band Kendrick Cult, alt rock band that goes around the area. Kick-ass band performs. When we performing next, Rand?
Thank you for that, brother, man. Appreciate it.
Yes,
We
sir.
will be in the Novel Tap Room in Newton, North Carolina, this Saturday night, and we're starting at 8 p.m. We'll be all wrapped up and done by 11. So it's
Okay.
not that far out. Newton is not terribly far from Charlotte. It'll be our first performance there. They're rolling out the red carpet for us, so we're gonna come and put down a good show for the fine folks in Newton.
That's what's up. Okay, congratulations. Yeah, yeah, y'all. Newton's only about a good 40, 45-minute drive, straight, easy straight shot once you get on 16.
Exactly.
You just ride it straight up past Denver, North Carolina, and some of those other little country spots out there, past Mount Holly, Iron Station, all that going up that direction, past all the fords and all of that stuff. So, um, yeah, it's not that far. Very nice little area out there. Uh, and if you decide that you want to buy a house out in that area, please let me know, as I am a licensed realtor. Just let me know. But you may see something that you like out there.
Congratulations, brother. Congratulations, making moves.
Yes, sir. Thank you much. Thank you. Looking forward to all the money coming rolling in. Uh, and when it comes, I'll let you know. Anyway, it's been another, I'm going to say this probably for the rest of this NFL season. Any given Sunday or Monday or whatever day they play on, you just never effing know. We also had the trade deadline yesterday as well. A lot of teams held pat, didn't do anything. Some teams did make a few moves here and there. Not a whole lot of big stuff. We've already had one firing this year. Drewski. It looks like McDaniels, the GM and the offensive coordinator, have already been canned from the LA Raiders. What Drewski, what you got to say?
Got him. We fucking got him.
Yep, they got him. Yeah. You let your star receiver only catch one pass for 11 yards, and your ass gonna get kicked out. After they paid him all that money. So we'll get into that too. But definitely, just another crazy week in the NFL. Let's start from last Thursday's game, where the Baker Mayfield led Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to play the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills had kind of been reeling back a little bit, not playing some of their best ball, losing to the New England Patriots the week before. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tried to give them a little bit of a game. But Baker had a decent game that's going to keep all the Baker maniacs out there still singing his praises. He was 25 of 42 for 237, 2 touchdowns and no picks. So, Rand, I know that you're Baker's number one fan, president of the Charlotte chapter fan club. Any thoughts about what's the difference between Baker this year and last year?
So, I mean, it's going to pick up your quarterback play when you have a weapon like Mike Evans out there, of course.
Yeah.
And you don't have another, bad weapon on the other side either. So, if you can't be a successful quarterback with two of the top 20 wide receivers in the NFL, then, hey, man, we brought Baker to our team, Carolina, that being, when I say our, because I am a Charlotte resident and I do support my Panthers. We brought him to our team so he can kind of raise the level of the wide receivers that we had, raise the level of the running game that we had in place. Baker is absolutely not that kind of quarterback. He's a kind of quarterback that has to have everything in place around him to be successful. And now that he has strong weapons around him, the Tampa Bay Bucks have still fallen back to earth. I believe they started 2-0. They're now 3-4.
Yeah.
So, I don't see it corrected itself, but we'll see. But for all of those that are going to say that Baker Mayfield has made a difference in Tampa Bay, I still say yet to be determined, man.
There you go. I agree with you. They are currently in second place in the NFC South, as Atlanta and New Orleans are tied for first at 4-4. Yeah, I agree with you. Baker, this is the issue I have with Baker when I read those stats. Those are stats for a okay quarterback at best, almost damn near mediocre. But the problem with Baker is the bar, in my opinion, has been set so low for a former overall number one pick that for him to put up numbers like that shouldn't be from the point of where he was drafted. That to me, that should be your off game. That shouldn't be your ending point. That should be your starting point on most days. Of course, every quarterback's going to have their down days and stuff like that. But when I see those stats from a, if this was a fifth round pick, okay, that's pretty good. He came in and he did something. But this was a number one first round pick. So when I see that and I look at it, I'm going, okay, bro, that ain't that impressive. I mean, already this season you've thrown 10 touchdowns and 4 picks. And like you said, you alluded to, you've got two studs in Edwards, I'm putting their names together, in Evans and Godwin on your team. You should be balling out with those guys because they're always open. And just to add to this, though, I am surprised actually that Tampa stayed pat and didn't go ahead and maybe move Mike Evans while Baker has been getting him the ball and he has been producing, and his trade value is probably the highest it's going to be. They did not extend his contract, so he's playing out his contract this year. I'm a little surprised that they did not go ahead and get some trade value for him, even if it's a fourth round, fifth round pick, get something for him because it doesn't seem like they're interested in re-signing him going forward. Because if they were, the time to have done that was in the preseason before his value would continue to go up during the regular season. If he has a great season, regardless of their record, he moves his value to a point where now it's going to cost you even more to try to retain him. And now, if other teams know after the season that you're trying to get him off the books, they're not going to be as aggressive as far as the trade value they can offer him because they know that you'll take almost anything at that point to get rid of him. So, a little surprised that one of the most valuable assets on their team, they didn't move before the trade deadline.
Yeah, there was a bunch of rumors out there about what could take place, prior to the trade deadline. Pittsburgh was caught up in a lot of rumors. I heard the Panthers caught up in a lot of rumors. But when you get past the deadline, I mean, there really wasn't a lot of big names that really moved. There was some small pieces, some small moves here or there. You had Josh Dobbs leaving the Cardinals. He's going to go to the Vikings.
Yep.
That was probably the biggest quarterback move that I heard of.
Other
than that, then I mean, there really wasn't no big splashes that were out there or that were being rumored because there was a lot being rumored.
Right, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, none of those happened. So running backs, I don't think any running backs got moved. Had some receivers get moved. Had defensive players get moved and things like that. Nothing that I really felt like is going to be life changing to a lot of these teams. Like you alluded to with Josh Dobbs, that was more out of necessity than they wanted to necessarily make a move for Kirk Cousins, who after Sunday's game was said that he had tore his Achilles and was going to be out for the rest of the season, which is just another blow to that organization because they were already dealing with not having Justin Jefferson for a couple of games, even though some of the other guys on the team have honestly stepped up and kept Minnesota kind of in the thick of things in the NFC North, and we'll get to that too. But just another blow for those Minnesota Vikings. Wrapping this up, though, Buffalo Bills did kind of curb all the talk of their demise, at least for another week, where Josh Allen did have a pretty good game, 31 of 40, 324, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Only ran the ball 7 times for 41 yards, and with Josh Allen, that is an only. He can have a tendency to lead the team in rushing. He did have a rushing touchdown, in fact. But he definitely got the ball to a lot of different receivers. Actually 6. I thought it was a few more than that. And Diggs was not the leading receiver. It was actually Khalil Shakir, 6 receptions, 92 yards. So he got it done, and he didn't try to play a bunch of hero ball and play within himself. Did just enough to be able to skirt by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I just feel like this game should have been more than 6 points, considering
definitely.
considering Buffalo playing Tampa Bay. So Tampa definitely came to play and made it a game. They kept it a low-scoring game for the most part because it's the same Bills team that is routinely scoring over 40 points a game, and you hold it to 24. Hell, you kept them from scoring in the fourth quarter altogether. They didn't even score a single point, field goal, or anything in the fourth quarter. So they are still definitely having some issues, but a lot of times winning will cover up some of those issues, at least for that week.
Buffalo's like doing just enough right now, which is really weird because, like you said, there's a lot of lesser opponents out there that they should be dominating. Tampa being one of them, they should have ran Tampa over, man.
They should have made quick work
Just
out
did
of
not
that.
happen.
It should have made people question why that was a Thursday night primetime game, and actually wasn't a question because they actually gave them some. Hey, Christina. So yeah, she's a Ravens fan. Thanks for joining. You don't even like Christmas. What do you mean I don't like Christmas? Of course I like Christmas. I just think that you don't start celebrating Christmas on November the 1st. Come on. Listen, you got plenty of time to celebrate Christmas. Okay? Hell, there's a song called 12 Days of Christmas. Look it up. Anyway. And then we also had a couple of other games. One of the ones that I'm a little surprised. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this game up. I'm a little surprised. No. I'm a lot surprised that I didn't hear a lot more after this game. I don't know if they've learned their lesson, that they get a nice blowout game and then they follow it up by a doo-doo game, or they just waiting to see what happened with them Eagles on Sunday before they start making a lot of fuss. But I saw a little bit of hand slapping, but not a whole lot of overboard Cowboy fans talking about their 43-20 victory over the LA Rams. Didn't know how that game was going to go because it was being played at Dallas. And I had mentioned on the last show that Dallas sometimes has let down games at home and play better away, because a lot of times the teams that come and travel and visit, Ty says, it's Christmas season when the Cowboys tank. Amen, brother. Amen, brother. What's going on, Ty? Hope all is well, sir. But yeah, it's crazy because normally when they get a win, any win, they could have beaten anybody, and they would just be celebrating to no end. And I really didn't see a lot of that on my feeds this week, Rand. It was almost like now they're just trying to act like, well, we did what we were supposed to do. Now it's on to Philadelphia. But I kind of think it's a little bit more to it than that. I think that they just don't want to get their highs up for 6 days, and then on the 7th day, they rested. I'm sorry, this isn't a quote from the Bible, but it kind of is. Yeah, the 7th day they're gonna rest. So when they go play Philadelphia, what's gonna happen. I think they took the win, but it was but it's crazy because I watched the game, and I'm actually going to do more than the Cowboy fans did. I'm gonna do something that I rarely ever do. It was a great game, Cowboys. You played a complete game from beginning to end. Your defense helped get some of those points and did some of the things. Anybody that plays Matthew Stafford knows he loves throwing pick sixes. He will throw one. He won't just throw a bad interception. He'll throw one that has no chance of them catching the person that intercepts the ball before they get to the end zone. He is good for doing that, and he did it. He had an abysmal game, 13-22 for 162, but that was because the defense kept pressure on him all game long. Cowboys, you did a good game. Dak had a really good game, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 25 of 31, damn near couldn't miss for 304 yards. CeeDee Lamb looked like a number 1 receiver, 12 receptions, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So the only thing that I probably would say if I had to nitpick about the Cowboys is your running game just didn't look like it was there.
That's a lot.
Yeah, you had a couple of different guys running the ball, but Tony Pollard, 12 runs for 53 yards, even though that's a 4.4 average, just not a lot of touches. And when you're already firmly in control of the game, that's when you want to lean on your rushing game because you're just basically trying to keep the clock moving. So the fact that you couldn't get your number one running back to barely get over 50 yards in a game where you were in control from start to finish is a little surprising. So I'm going to give your team props because you better document it because I rarely will do it. But your team actually did play pretty well, Cowboys. So any of these Cowboy fans out there that say, Brian, you always hating on my team, you can check the record. It is at 7:24 p.m. on November the 1st. I've not had anything to drink just yet, Rand. So I'm saying this of clear mind that they actually did play a pretty decent game against an underwhelming Rams team. But I don't want to take anything away from what the Cowboys did and just say the Rams were just that underwhelming, even though they kind of were.
I thought the Rams were going to bring a whole lot more to the game offensively than what they did. I was expecting way more than 20 points. I mean, I wasn't expecting the Rams to be in the 40s, but I was definitely expecting maybe 27, 28, maybe even 30 points. But Dallas kind of shut that down, even without Diggs out there. So that was, that was impressive. And like you said, Dak had one of the better games that he has had in a long time. 4 touchdown passes to 1 pick. That is really good.
I just saw Christina's comment. Rest in heaven, Bobby General Knight. Bobby Knight passed?
Did he?
What?
Let me get on that one.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. Yeah. If we can confirm that, that's
yeah. Bobby Knight dead at 83. Wow.
Wow. I might have to go throw a chair in his honor.
Too soon, bro. Too soon.
I should explain to my wife why I'm doing it before she gets hit. But anyway, that'll be another story. So if I'm hosting head-to-head from one of the I-85 underpasses next week, you'll know why. But what you said, yeah. No, he was a great coach, though. I mean, fiery guy, and I mean, just the face of Indiana basketball. And you knew that if you go to play for Indiana, Coach Knight was going to get every drop of anything out of you and put it on that court. So, I mean, he had his ways and stuff, but the results are undeniable. One hell of a coach. So, I'm gonna pour a little liquor on you, Coach Knight.
Props to him and that 1987 championship team. But I'm still hurt from that 1981 championship when he took down my Tar Heels, man.
Yeah.
That one burned. That one really burned.
Hey, gotta give it up. I mean, he put his imprint on that college for a very, very long time. So gone, but certainly will be remembered for sure. Love him or hate him. I'm sure people felt that way when Dean Smith passed. Dean Smith probably kept a lot of people from winning championships or advancing in the NCAA tournaments and stuff like that. So, fierce competitors, but you got to give them the props when they take their last bout. So, definitely do that. Back to the Rams, put a point on that too. I saw that they added Royce Freeman to their running back core, and between him and Darrell Henderson, they only mustered up about 78 yards rushing. So that was a little underwhelming too, just to be able to see those two backs not really get a lot going. But at the same time, once they got behind, it really wasn't going to be about running anymore. It was going to be about receiving, which Darrell Henderson did a little bit more of that, 3 receptions, 54 yards. So all combined, he had 85 all-purpose yards. But they just weren't able to really do a lot on the ground because at that point, by the time they got smacked in the mouth, I mean, by halftime, it was already 33-9. So, that game had already been decided, and trying to run the ball at that point just was moot. And they were going to have to try to put some points on the board, and they just could not keep up with the Cowboys. So, again, Cowboys, I'm giving it up to you. Christina, let's talk about your Baltimore Ravens because I know you're on here.
Oh God!
Yeah, let's talk about your Ravens and how they did. They actually won against the lowly Arizona Cardinals, but a win is a win. It keeps them pacing in the AFC North, which again I still continue to say is the most competitive division in football right now. We are number 3, Bills are number 4. Oh, you mean in the overall standings? Well, yeah, but you got to win your division. Right now, you are winning it by a lot in a way because the Steelers. Well, I can't say a lot because Rand, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Bengals are all tied for number 2.
Yeah, we're
they're all
still in there.
they're all 4 and 3. So listen, Ravens, you're rolling right now, kind of, but don't get caught slipping. I got my son over here yelling Ravens. That's what's up. you got things rolling right now, but literally, all of those 4 and 3 teams are really only one game behind you because you played 8, and they've played 7. So you haven't had your bye yet. So statistically, they're literally one game. I said kinda. And the reason is because you got to remember that when you play your divisional opponents, and Pittsburgh's already got one win over you. So if you end up tying with them before the end of the season, they win the tiebreaker and they can win the division. Now, the thing that's going to save you is that we really thought the AFC West could be the conference to get 2 teams out of the AFC. But it really does look like, she says, true, the bye week is a deal breaker. Yeah. But it looks like the Chiefs may only get, the Chiefs, the West may only get 1 team out of that dadgum AFC if the Chargers don't start to pick up. But they still don't look like they're themselves. The Raiders, they just went through their implosion, and now the Broncos. Well, we'll talk about the Broncos because the Broncos actually tried to look kind of good the other day, but I think it's too far gone. We'll see though. But anyway, but it does look like the West is showing power in defense. Yeah, but when we talk about the playoffs, you got to get to the dance. There's only 7 teams that can make the playoffs. 4 of those teams win their division. The other 3 are wild cards. So when you start looking around the AFC right now in the South, you got Jacksonville looking really, really good. Indianapolis and Tennessee don't really look like they're going to do too much, but they could warm up. But you've got, so that's one team there. In the East, you've got the Dolphins and the Bills that more than likely I think, are going to be 2 teams fighting to the end for that number 1 spot. And even whoever comes in second has a good chance of making it to the playoffs. So I think one wild card is definitely coming out of the East. I don't see one coming out of the South. I don't even see one coming out of the West if the Chargers or the Raiders or Broncos don't pick it up. So with that said, there's still 2 more teams that have to come into the playoffs. And I honestly believe at this point, you're looking at potentially 3 teams coming out of the AFC North. The divisional winner plus 2 wild cards. And it could be a combination of the Bengals, the Steelers. Hell, even the Browns are playing pretty well right now and have been playing pretty well without Mr. Masagi. Who knew that PJ Walker could lead a team to victories? But they're doing that. They're doing this without the $250 million man. They're doing this with PJ freaking Walker, former XFL star, former Carolina Panther that didn't really do a whole lot for the Panthers. Now all of a sudden is maybe Masagi got him some free back rubs or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
PJ, but that's a tough division now.
PJ's playing all right. He's passing a little around, 50%. So definitely got to pick that up. He's leaning on that defense right now. The Browns are sneaky good on defense. One of the league's best. Did not see that one coming, but they're really out there making some noise on defense and keeping themselves in a lot of games. But still a lot of football to be played. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Could 3 come out of the AFC North? Yeah.
Yeah.
If teams don't start getting hot and going on runs,
It's
it
almost
could
it's
definitely
almost
happen.
it's almost by default, because if the other divisions don't really propose any other wild card teams, then by default they could end up getting that. Now, you're right. A lot of footballs are yet to be played. We saw Joe Burrow seem like his old self in this past game, and we'll talk about that one. The Browns are doing just enough. The Steelers somehow can manufacture wins when it seems like they're dead in the water in a game, and then all of a sudden something flips, and next thing you know, they win the game, and you're like, wait, what? Huh? Who? So that's kind of interesting. But there are at least 2 of those teams that are going to come out of that, which puts pressure on the other divisions to really produce, because that was already a tough conference to begin with. But a lot of these teams have underperformed to this point. But you're right, it's basically middle of the season. So we'll see if anybody is able to turn it on. Are we talking about college ball too tonight? Well, we don't normally get into college ball, but if there's a certain team that you wanted to mention, then go right ahead. We can definitely throw that in there, because a lot of these college players will end up in the NFL, so that's okay to be on the radar. Um, but yeah, that's what's going on with the AFC. So it'll be interesting. But the Ravens, remember, you're 6-2. There's a bye week that's not yet to be had yet. And anytime you lose a divisional game, that's almost like 2 games. So you're only a game up right now. So if you lose to the Bengals, if you lose another game to the Steelers, and you guys end up with the same records, they're going to have tiebreakers over you. So just kind of keep that in mind. But just wanted to make that plain. And the reason I'm making that plain is guys, you played the Arizona Cardinals. Lamar Jackson had one of his best games the week before, and then he comes back to reality. Ran 18 to 27, 157 yards, 1 touchdown.
That's what he does. That's what he is known for. That
And
is
what
who
we
he
said on
is.
the last show, wasn't it? We said, okay, he gave you that MVP game, but what is he going to follow it up with? Because the biggest issue that I've had with Lamar is his consistency. Now, part of that may be because I'm butthurt because I always have Mark Andrews on my fantasy football teams, so I need him to be more consistent. She said, just ask him. I'm at practice right now, so I'm listening and yelling at children. I don't want to miss anything. Multitasking, mom. You go right ahead. But yeah, so I need to see that consistency in him. Now I am thankful because I also have Gus Edwards on my fantasy football team, and he had 19 carries, 80 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So I appreciate that a lot. I appreciate that. And also point of personal order for my Facebook Kings fantasy. I lost to one Hargrove the week before, but I was more than happy to hand it to another one.
You made my sister take the payback, bro.
Listen, your sister could have and should have beat me. After Sunday night, she was actually up on me by about 9 point something points. And the only player I had left for Monday Night Football was the Detroit kicker. And I'm like, well, ain't no way in hell the kicker gonna get no damn 9 points because he's a kicker. Well, the first 3 scoring drives were field goals. I said, damn. And then when they finally scored a touchdown and he kicked the PAT, that was it. So I only beat her literally by less than a point. So I know she's butthurt, but I'd already lost to one Hargrove the week before, so damn it. I had to pay back somehow. So Anthony says, let me read Anthony's comments. Raiders don't know what they're doing. They fired their head coach, but still paying him for the next 3 years. Then he said, you're lucky I got Zay Flowers and can't even get over 10 but 2 games. Wow. Yeah, well, why? Because he plays for the Ravens. And Lamar is inconsistent. So one game he'll have, he'll spread the ball around, and just a point of contention. Mark Andrews was your leading receiver. Well, he tied with Justice Hill, 4 receptions for 40 yards. That was it. Zay Flowers, 5 receptions for 19 yards.
5 receptions for 19 yards out of your wide receiver. That is kind of hard to do.
And Odell Beckham, he's not inconsistent. He's a strategist. Look, if you keep putting that much spin on stuff, either I'm gonna need you to run a laundromat or run for Congress, because that's a whole lot of spin you just put on that. He's not inconsistent. He's a strategist. Yeah. Okay.
What's the strategy?
Look, if this was your man, this is what we would call firing blanks. But anyway, so yeah, that's not being a strategist at all. Because what is he trying to do? Convince us that he's some mastermind? I got a horse I can sell you. I bet you do. Good luck with that. But yeah, how you get 5 catches for 19 yards?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because then that means his average was 3.8 yards a carry, meaning that you're not getting any kind of yards after catch. You're literally, you know what it probably is? You're right beside the receiver. He turns to the left, turns to the right, throw you the ball like a smoke route, and the defense has already collapsed on you, and they're closed in on you. So you're not really getting anything after that. Again, Lamar's game has to elevate to not just throwing people while they're open, but throwing people open, learning how to get them at the height of their route. So as they go into their break, he throws them while they're open so that they can get yards after the catch. If I throw to you in the middle of the field and I throw directly to you, it's going to be a completion. Hell, it may even move the chains, but you have no opportunities of getting yards after the catch because you have to gather the ball, turn upfield to try to make a football move. What's up, Joe Lowry? Joe Lowry. So you have to then be able to gather yourself, turn upfield to make a football move. And these defensive backs are too talented a lot of times to let you be able to do that. So Lamar, you really got to be able to figure out how to get these guys at the very top of their routes. So when they break into the top of that route, you're throwing them where they're going to be, not where they already are. It gives you, she said, it gives you high school Hail Mary vibes. Okay, I'm in here, Joe. Yep. Yeah, we're talking about the Ravens and Lamar's unimpressive performance against the lowly Arizona Cardinals, who've only won 1 game this year, kind of like my Carolina Panthers, but that's another story coming. But if you're performing that way against the Cardinals, Lamar, come on. We need you to play. Now, I will say he does have a great record against NFC teams. I heard that broadcast a lot that, man, he plays NFC teams and he just wins. He does have an impressive record against NFC teams. But, man, you got to show more than that against the Cardinals. I missed my Panther talk. No. You ain't missed Panther talk yet. We ain't got there yet. I saved that on purpose. But, listen, when the Ravens sat there the week before and they ended up beating up on the Lions 38-6, you come back against the Cardinals and go 20 or whatever the score was. And Lamar was 21-27, 357 yards, 3 touchdowns. Let me see what Zay Flowers had in that game, see if it was any better in that game. Zay Flowers in that game, 4 receptions for 75 yards. Andrew, 4 for 63. Gus Edwards had an 80-yard catch. He was just throwing the ball around. Zip. And then you follow that up with an underwhelming game is all you can really call it, where you beat the Ravens. I mean, you beat the Cardinals 31-24. So, yeah, just trying to tell you. Now, Joe, you did miss me giving the Cowboys a lot of credit in their game. Actually, more than the Cowboy fans did, because I think they're holding their breath because of the upcoming Philadelphia game. And Anthony says, have you noticed Arizona's been giving teams problems? Yes. I do know the team that they got their first win on, they gave them a problem. That was the Cowboys, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they beat the Cowboys? That's the only win of the year. They lost everybody else, but they beat them Cowboys. So it's just kind of crazy to be able to see that. Christina, I like Lamar, but the performance states he needs a pregame, post-practice meeting. Joe says, I literally haven't paid the Ravens any attention this season. How they look up and down, same way they always look. They do okay during the season. They get the wins, but a lot of them aren't very impressive. But if they're playing like they are now come playoff time, which is still a good ways away, they're going to be one and done in the playoffs again. That's just the facts. I know ain't a good thing to hear, Christina, but if they play like that, when it's one and done, when it's win or go home, they're going home.
Yeah, you don't play no NFC teams in the playoffs.
No, you got exactly. So yeah, and if they're playing like that against the Cardinals, when you start playing, we are fabulous, and Brian Parker is a hater. I am not a Ravens hater, even though I wouldn't have gave him that money. I will say that too. We said that all last year too, when we knew that Lamar was trying to become the highest paid and all that. Is OBJ doing anything at all? Oh yeah, OBJ. Let me see, Rand.
Stealing money.
Had 0 receptions for 0 yards in this past game. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing.
Stealing money. That's the only stat he's stealing.
Julio Jones doing more in Philadelphia than Odell Beckham is doing in Baltimore. Part of that ain't his fault though, because you have an inconsistent quarterback. He's always looking for the open guy. He hasn't yet learned how to throw guys open. That's just the truth. And that's always been the knock on Lamar. That's always been why a lot of receivers and players said, I'll pass on Baltimore. Yeah, it seems nice. Yeah, we want to play for Lamar. He's a great guy, great locker room guy. The players love him. And that's great. That's really good. And that does help you win. But you also have to be able to reward your players for getting open and creating just a little bit of separation and being able to drop the ball directly in their breadbasket, particularly while they're on the run, while they're actually turning up the field so that they can get yards after the catch, not just simply throwing it to them open. Christina says, I can get the kids to do suicide runs while we're talking about OBJ. Get to the Panthers. Oh, wow. Okay. So, I'll talk about the Panthers. She said, I can't. Quick switch. Brandon Miller is the right pick. LOL. Okay. Back to the NFL.
Daggone right. He's the right pick. Just wish I could watch it. But because of Bally Sports, I have to lean on other people to be able to watch my Hornets. But yeah, he is the right pick.
I need to see this dude. Yeah, I saw a little bit of the game the other day because I was installing Roku on my mom's TV and I was testing it out and we were watching the game for a little bit. But they were playing Brooklyn that day and all I kept seeing was dunk, 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 dunk. I'm like, damn, Brooklyn, y'all gonna shoot it or y'all just gonna keep dunking it on us? Well, they kept dunking it. So anyway, how about them Panthers? Bally ain't shit. Got me watching illegal apps.
Amen, amen, amen. Bally Sports ain't shit. Terrible app.
So yeah, you got to back
Give
up on
me
that.
my money back.
Hey Joe, that's how Rand started the show. Was I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Not good," and just ripped into Bally because he has Dish Network, and only way you can watch Hornets game is this Bally crap. So. Yeah, he's definitely co-signing on that one. He says, I feel you, Rand. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. So the Carolina Panthers became the last team in the entire 32-team NFL to do something that should be not routine, but fairly easy to do before your 8th game of the year, and that's win a game. This was the game, though, that we had basically said, this is the one that you have the chance to win. This is also the game that I said to Bryce Young, because I know he watches the show. He's a long time listener. Is that if you let CJ Stroud come in your house and outplay you, don't be in Charlotte without a paper bag on. Don't get your hopes up for the Panthers over one win. Oh, bro. No. We are definitely not Cowboyish at all. Because they got the one win, and I barely saw anybody mention it on my Facebook pages. We know what it is. It's a win. and it might be the only one. It might be lonely by itself. It may be a 1-17. I mean a 1-16. I'm definitely not gonna ever get over too hyped about one win because it wasn't even that impressive of a win. It was an impressive win from the fact that the defense did some good things. I actually will give Bryce Young some credit. I saw him do some better things. It's giving cowgirl vibes. Now Panthers will get 3 wins. On who? Are they good enough to beat Tampa right now? No, Baker will kill them. Are they good enough to beat New Orleans right now? Hell no. Are they good enough to beat Atlanta right now, even though Desmond Ridder got benched for this coming game and they're going to finally start Taylor Heineke this upcoming game? Talk about that too. This ain't our first 1-win season. Then Jermaine says, that is true. 1 point or 20, I'll take it, says Joe. I agree, but I got to see them be able to they got to put more than 15 points up, Rand. They cannot beat even basic teams only scoring 15 points a game. This was a defensive game where they made CJ Stroud feel very uncomfortable. Anthony says, you heard it here first. Watch 3 wins this season. Lord, Anthony, they have left the Colts. And I think that's in Carolina. They play the Colts. We have a very, very bad rush defense. And Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss are studs. Bears and Colts are locks. I'm calling it. You think we're going to beat them? Now, the only chance that we have is the defense making Gardner Minshew feel very uncomfortable. That is possible, but you would have to have a whole lot of defense because the offense ain't going to give you much, and they're going to have to wrap up these backs. I got to believe something. I know. But we got to see the run defense do something that it struggled with all year, and that's stopping the run. And I've just not seen them consistently stop the run. The only other game that I see on the schedule that they have a chance in now, how long is Justin Fields going to be out for Chicago?
I'm really not sure how long he's going to be out.
Because I know the rookie played the other game. And played part of the one before that. But then the Bears game is November the 9th. It's a Thursday night football game, so that's a primetime game. It is in Chicago. They get to see DJ Moore. Hopefully that ain't one of his inspired games where he's going to end up catching 200 receiving yards on us. And I'm going to be honest with you. If they don't get the Colts game, or if they get the Colts in the Bears game, then you're right. That'll be 3. But after, yeah, you know what? I do see some other games now that I wouldn't have said earlier.
I put them at 4+ actually.
Cowboys, I don't see, but the Titans game, the day after November the 26th, that's a game they can have.
I got them at 4+.
Yeah, they may be.
I think that Bryce is improving.
Yeah,
I think they could get some of these injured players back. The main issue I'm having is Ike Ekwonu right now, who's going to get Bryce absolutely killed. I have not seen a left tackle regress this badly in years. I mean, he went from being, fringe top 15 left tackle last year with a lot of hopes rolling into this year into just being like a revolving door all of a sudden. I don't know what's changed or where it's came from, but they need to get this repaired quick, fast, in a hurry, because right now, I mean, he's debatable remaining a starter. It's just that bad.
6 sacks. And I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't see any of them really where he held the ball too long. Early in the season, I could tell that he was trying to make the perfect and right pass, and he was holding the ball too long. That wasn't the case in this game. It was a 3-step drop, and then he got dropped. Icky just was not holding up that left side at all and just basically pushing the pocket to the right. And all of the defense just had a field day coming after Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Ike Ekwonu get beat 3 different times. I saw a speed rush to the inside. I saw a lot of rushes to the outside, of course, but then I saw him get bull rushed and pancaked, which
Right.
was
I
crazy
know what you're
for
talking
a
about,
left tackle.
but his stance was off, Rand. He
Yeah,
was kind of like sidestepping the guy. He didn't even front him right. He just sidestepped him. So all the guy did was he pushed him out the way and came right at Bryce. And I'm like, what kind of technique is that?
yeah, that's your starting left tackle getting pancaked. It's his job to pancake defensive linemen, and he's
Right.
getting pancaked by defensive linemen. That's
Yeah.
a big, big problem, man.
Big. Because and those sacks could have been costly because a lot of times you're protecting his blind side. If he doesn't see that hit coming and he's got that ball unprotected, that's going to be a fumble.
Or even beyond that, I mean, that one that he got pancaked on, he got pushed into Bryce's legs.
Yep.
Lucky, there was no injury off of that.
Did you see the no call for the hit that Bryce took as he was starting to take that slide? And they didn't call any kind of roughing the passer because the official said Bryce started to give up his body before the tackler had launched into him. I looked at that replay like 5 times. Bryce was already going into his slide before dude decided to finish him off. I don't know what the hell they saw, but there was no way in the world that was a no call at all.
Yeah, these
At all.
referees, man, I don't know where they finding them from. I saw one of the absolute worst hits in since we're gonna talk some college ball, I'm gonna throw this in here. The Colorado Buffaloes game, I believe it was Deion Sanders' son who was actually tossed out of the game for you have to pull it up. It is crazy. For those out there that want to see it, just pull up the Colorado football player that got thrown out of the game for making a hit with his shoulder. He got tossed out of the game for making a routine hit with his shoulder. Not penalized, thrown out the game. Crazy. That's the worst call I've seen this year in college ball. Now, as far as professional, I mean, hey, we got a laundry list.
Any Sunday, multiple games you
Any
can
Sunday.
find. Yeah. The officiating is that bad. Anthony says you might get a win against the Bears or Titans or Packers. No, I agree with all of those now. Just watching how those games are going, but I'm a little afraid of the Titans because Will Levis put on a show now that Tannehill is out. So
Will
goodbye.
Levis getting shut down tomorrow.
Yeah. Good luck, Tannehill. I think Will Levis has finally come for your job, and if he continues to play like that, look, DeAndre Hopkins loves Will Levis because he was catching touchdown after touchdown after touchdown from Will Levis. No one likes the prime time family. Christina, I agree with that. And I think a lot of times is some and not rightfully, but a lot of times it's kind of that LeVar Ball kind of thing that when you're the boisterous black guy, you put a target on your back because everybody's wanting to bring you back down. They think that maybe you don't have enough respect for the game, you ain't paid your dues, so we're gonna try to bring you back down. That's why one of the coaches was talking about he walk around with his shades on and his hat on. He should take his hat off and da 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 da. I'm just trying to find ways to poke holes at you because they don't like the flashiness, they don't like the boisterousness, and they want to try to figure out how to take you down. I think there is some Deion bias that probably comes into a lot of those games that the players end up having to wear. Don't take his passion for aggression. I would, and ain't nothing wrong with it. He is aggressive. When you take somebody that was at the top of the level in the sport that they played, of course he's going to have that. That's probably what made him as successful as he was, his passion and his aggression. And hell, not only in one sport, but y'all got to remember, Deion was a baseball player too.
Yeah, y'all pull up Shiloh Sanders disqualified against UCLA and tell me what he was disqualified for. It is absolutely ridiculous.
He was disqualified because his last name was Sanders.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. I'm gonna watch it after the show, but I guarantee you, he was disqualified. Now, what I would love to see from that though is the NCAA be able to look at that same film, because coaches are able to send film to the leagues to dispute certain calls. They want you to do it that way, not trash the refs after the game. So they want you to send the footage. I would love to see the NCAA do the right thing and send some kind of retraction out to say, hey, after looking at the film, I mean, it doesn't change the outcome of the game and stuff like that, but at least for them to be able to say, hey, we're going to get with this officiating crew. If we see anything like that again, they may not be able to do any of the postseason games and stuff like that, because the way a lot of these referees get to officiate postseason play, college or the NFL, they're evaluated all through the season. He got ejected for that?
He was ejected for this.
He wasn't even a defenseless receiver. He didn't launch.
Didn't launch.
He just
Hit
gave
with the shoulder. Didn't
tackle.
hit in the head. Was ejected for that.
You for real, strong ass shoulder for real. Because honestly, Christina, he could have hurt himself more than he hurt the dude that he hit, throwing his shoulder like that. I ain't never been a fan of that shoulder tackle, because you can mess up your own shoulder doing that, knock it out of place. Feet planted, body squared. Okay, Christina, absolutely, I agree. But the problem was, it says Sanders on the back of that jersey.
That's just crazy, man.
That's the only thing I saw wrong with that. That's
That is
nuts.
just
Thank you for
crazy.
sharing that. That's crazy. That's standard.
That is a standard football
It
tackle.
wasn't like he just hit him and the ball didn't come his way, and he didn't see it coming. He knew once he caught that ball across that shallow cross, he was going to get hit, or he should know that. So he did what he was supposed to do. He caught the ball, protected the ball. So when he took the hit, he didn't fumble the ball.
Yeah,
That's what you're supposed to do.
The hit was with the shoulder to the chest, not to the head. He didn't use his helmet as a weapon. I don't know what that referee was looking at. To penalize it would have been bad, but to disqualify him was
Right.
atrocious.
Normally, you have to get like what, 2 unsportsmanlike things in a game, and they eject you for that. Or if you targeted somebody, like head hunting them with a helmet, that might get you ejected, something like that. But that was none of that. It wasn't anything with the helmet. It was straight shoulder.
You will see that hit every Saturday, Friday night, and some Thursday nights in college football. Every
Absolutely.
game. Every game.
Absolutely. Christina says, Brian, I've been coaching for years. These refs are getting pettier in every sport.
They're
Yeah,
terrible.
but the problem is that when they start evaluating your calls in these games, the real money you make is in the postseason. So if you're going to sit there and disqualify this player for that, you may be disqualifying yourself from any season games and stuff like that. That's how you move up in the ref rankings, because you're able to say how many postseason games you've officiated. That's how you go from being a line judge to the referee, or all of those different kind of positions. Those different positions are different levels in the reffing world, because of the level of responsibility that different refs have on the field. They all don't have the same responsibilities. Says disqualifying him makes them feel good and makes Baby Dion put in more work. Yeah, I mean, I believe the resilience of that family is stronger than anything that these people are going to put up against them. But you shouldn't have to fight all the doubters and the officiating crew too. I mean, damn. All because you dare to be great. I mean, what's wrong with that? That's what you're supposed to tell your kids, right? Aspire, dare to be great.
Talk a little junk.
Yeah, you talk a little junk. You got a little swag. Your games are nationally televised, because either people want to see you do well or people want to see you fall. You're bringing more recognition to a lot of these players coming through the portal and stuff like that. What's wrong with that? Oh, the wrong one did it. Okay. Yeah. I ain't seen nobody have no problem like that when when Spurrier used to do all that back in the day, but I digress. I'm just saying. You want to talk about some jackass down in Florida that was always talking with his chest, okay, and was backing it up too. So even in them old Miami days, Miami used to sit there and thump on people and sit there and they were swagging and stuff. Well, when the doubters are the officials and they can't be professional, but out there being fans and getting bets under the table, never mind. Christina, stop with your conspiracies. You know, you probably like 98% correct. So anyway, back to my Panthers though. They did win the game. It was a good game. There were some better things that I did see with Bryce Young. He actually threw over 200 yards in the game. That was impressive. Another impressive thing, Ram, was he did not give the ball away. He threw a touchdown pass. That was nice to see the Tommy Tremble, but he also did not throw any picks in this game. So I am seeing him do some progression. Hey, Rand, another thing that I'm seeing too is it looks like to me that Miles Sanders may have lost his job to Chuba Hubbard.
Miles Sanders has definitely lost his job to Chuba. I mean, Chuba, we were talking about this last week on the show. Chuba is the much harder runner. Miles Sanders pecks and looks for holes. You ain't got time for all that, especially with this bad offensive line. Find the hole, shoot through it. I don't care if you get 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It's better than getting nothing or losing yards like Sanders has been doing. I'm extremely disappointed by that guy, man. I really am. But, you know, Mingo is starting to look like a second wide receiver.
Just say that. Yeah. Mingo, 4 catches, 62 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little bit of light going on in Carolina right now. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, like I said before, but Bryce is looking better. If they could protect him a little better, if they could open a few holes in the run game, use Chuba in the pass game a little more.
Yes.
I mean, might have some 2 and 3 touchdown games rather than a 1 touchdown game. But, you know, we're going to wait and see.
And what in the hell has gotten into Frankie Luvu?
Luvu is the man. What a steal from the Jets. Thank you, Jets. We really appreciate it.
What in the world has gotten into Frankie? Now, I've seen him put together games like that, but he was in his zone this past game. Like, and I'm glad they were, because listen, all this game came down to, if you read the press, was the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick. The guys that we kept going back and forth. Should Bryce have gone number 1? Should Stroud have gone number 1? That whole thing. And it would have been, and early on to the start of the year, it seemed like Stroud was playing at a different level than Bryce Young was. So was Stroud going to be able to continue that coming into Carolina and being able to make the overall pick look pretty bad? And he did not. He actually did outperform him statistically and by the scoreboard. So I'm glad to see that. I was a little worried that if you can't protect your own house against the guy that got picked right after you, and the guy some people kept saying should have got picked, should have been the quarterback in that stadium, for you to be able to do that, that's a good start. Now, just like I always get on Lamar Jackson, got to see some consistency. I agree with you, Rand. I saw some good things. I saw some really, really good passes that he threw. He needs to learn how to throw people open too. But he went through his progressions when he had time, and he found receivers. He didn't just lock in on Adam Thielen, even though the 33-year-old receiver is still the leading receiver on that team. 8 receptions, 72 yards. He's old reliable. When they got a third and medium, third and long, all you got to do is figure out where Thielen is on the field, and he's going to create enough separation a lot of times to get you that first down. So that's good. His confidence is there. I'm glad to see him trying to use his tight ends more. I think when you're a young quarterback, one of your best safety blankets is your tight end, especially if you got receiving tight ends. So for a guy like that, I need to see. Now, I did see somebody post, I think it was one of my old classmates put on there, you let a black man call the plays, and then you win the first game. So, right? Whatever you had to do Your play caller was a little bit more aggressive, but we want to see him a little bit more aggressive than that. Flicker to the flame, Carolina, says Christina. So that's good. So they did well enough to win. How do y'all think they did? You know, maybe I'm a little critical of them. I'm not going to get overly excited. A win's a win, move on. It's kind of funny because with the Falcons and the Saints only with 4 wins, we're basically only 3 games behind in the playoff.
Crazy, ain't it? I mean, be 1-6 and not dead, but it's crazy.
That is crazy. Because I already said it's very possible for a 9-win team to win the NFC South. And I still stand by that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you might see an 8-win team win the NFC South. It's just that bad.
Yeah. Anthony says, random fact, Raiders interim head coach is Antonio Pierce. Definitely know that name. Former linebacker from the Giants. That's wild. Yes, it is. What's well, hell, let's go to that one. What's wild is that our Monday Night Football game featured the Detroit Lions playing the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the score was one thing, it was only 26-14. You would have thought that the Raiders got blew out by the way that Tuesday night's news came that Josh McDaniels, also the general manager David Ziegler, and the offensive coordinator Mick Lombardi all got canned by the Raiders.
Yeah, and they told Garoppolo, thank you, we've seen enough too. So ownership is extremely unpleased about the results of Monday night.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it, Rand, was this. I didn't even realize I was watching the game that it took until the second quarter for Devontae Adams to get his first catch, and it was his only one for 11 yards.
That's insane, man. That is your only weapon that you have. I mean, it's not your only weapon, but he's definitely your best weapon.
He's your best weapon.
Only have one completion to your best weapon on offense. Well, I could see why Garoppolo gets benched for that.
Oh, yeah. Devontae, 1 reception, 11 yards. Hunter Renfrow, 2 receptions for 19 yards.
There we go, that 19 yards receiving again.
What in the hell? Josh Jacobs, your freaking running back, had 2 receptions for 27 yards.
Yeah. I don't think they had 150 yards passing total that game. I mean, Garoppolo was just that bad. I think it was more like 130. So
no, not even that. 126. Yeah. 126 for the whole game.
It's terrible. We're talking high school football quarterbacks when you go out and have performances like that. But I never thought Garoppolo was the man anyway. I mean, even when he was with San Francisco and he was winning games with them, I always said that San Francisco was winning despite him.
They were.
I've never been a Garoppolo fan.
Shanahan scheme that just put him in a position not to F them over.
Yeah.
Like you said, they didn't win because of him. Most of the time when they lost because he did something outside the scheme.
Yeah.
He started freewheeling. And would throw an untimely interception and stuff like that. 10 of 21, 126 yards and an interception.
10 of 21. We could stop right there. That's terrible.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Prime time Raiders.
So
the Raiders are a little bit like the Cowboys. We pick on the Cowboys all the time, but the Raiders have only had 2 playoff appearances in the past 20 years themselves. That's awful.
Yeah. Yeah. Anthony says, thank God that's how you use Gibbs. Give him the ball. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Which I don't want to talk about because I lost in my other fantasy league because Gibbs had over 40 freaking points. But, yeah, he did his thing. So, speaking about Jahmyr Gibbs, 26 carries, 152 yards, and a touchdown. Don't nobody care about the Raiders.
Damn. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. I mean, you seem a little hurt from that. Just let us know what you mean. But yeah, Jared Goff, another impressive game, 26 of 37, 272, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Basically kept the chains moving. Totally different story with the receivers. Ross St. Brown, 6 receptions, 108 yards. Even Gibbs, in addition to the 152 yards rushing, also had 5 catches for another 37 yards. So this kid was all over the place, over 190 all-purpose yards just from Jahmyr Gibbs. So definitely killed me in my fantasy, but definitely was a problem all day. Sam Laporta, that is somebody that you got to watch out for. The tight end, 8 receptions, 57 yards and a touchdown. So yeah, they did get smacked in the mouth that one game, but they definitely bounced back and looked like the Lions that we've been seeing coming for quite some time. I still don't feel like there's a team in the NFC North that is really going to push them. I think it's their division to lose.
Not even close. It's the Lions division to take, man. The 2 hottest teams in the whole NFL right now, dating back to the end of last year, are the Lions and the Jaguars, both of whom are going to run away with their divisions, both of them.
So what's going on with your boy Copeland? Paul.
Copeland.
In the Paul Copeland?
Yeah.
Ain't he a 49ers fan?
Oh yeah. Big time.
Have you checked on him lately?
Yeah. All these back-to-back 17-yard games, man. I'm sure it's hurting him pretty bad. But the trades that they just pulled off, the Niners ain't going nowhere. They're gonna
they ain't going nowhere, but
they're gonna be all right.
Are you? I was gonna say, are you a little worried that Purdy started out the season not throwing picks, and now the last couple of games he's thrown multiple picks in games?
I'm not. I mean, he's coming off of a concussion. I mean, it takes you a while to kind of shake the cobwebs of that, even when you get back to playing. And even in those 3 picks that he threw, he also threw for 357 yards of offense without Deebo Samuels even being out there. So, I mean, the Niners, they're going to be all right, man. I mean, I did not expect them to have an undefeated season. Like I said, and with the pickup of Chase Young that they got from Washington, it's going to be huge down the stretch for them when it gets cold and miserable outside and the defense tunes it up a little bit. Niners are going to be there in the end. And I'm not even a Niners fan. I'm just saying what it is.
So you got Fred Warner on one side and you're going to have Chase Young on the other side? Is that what they're going to do?
You have Bosa on one side.
Nick Bosa. That's right. Warner's in the backfield, right?
Yeah. They'll have an outstanding defensive rotation between the 3 that they have. It's going to be a nightmare for the rest of the NFC West.
Anthony, I know you're a Commanders fan. How you feel about that whole Chase Young to the Niners deal? That I was a little surprised about that, but I've been more surprised that it just never seemed like Chase. I know he was hurt a lot, but it just never really seemed like he really got it going in Washington. So maybe the change of scenery is going to be a good thing for him. Now the Commanders do get next year's 3rd round pick from the Niners. So they didn't really give up too much to get him. I mean, it's a decent compensation, don't get me wrong, for the Commanders. They're not – well, they are out of the NFC East because only one team is going. Not 2. But I don't think they'll end up 2. At most, they'll end up as 3. So it kind of seems like they've kind of given up on the idea that they didn't want to have to redo his contract next year when they go into that year and have to offer him the money, so it was easier to just send him over to San Francisco.
It's not even that. Not just that. They also gave up their other defensive end on the other side too, Montez Sweat. Chicago. So that was their 1-2 punch on the defense. Crazy. I've never seen a team give up both of their edge rushers like that in the middle of the season.
Denver just did it.
In the middle of the season?
They gave up Randy Gregory to the Niners. And then they sent their other end. Forgot where they sent him. But yeah, they did. Which I thought was just crazy. I'm like, wait a minute. You just sent Randy Gregory that Dallas sent you to the 49ers because they needed more defense.
Wow, I didn't even realize the Niners had Gregory. I mean, he's a nice little defensive rotational piece himself. So,
Mhm.
yeah, again, any Niner fans out there worried about Purdy, man, I wouldn't be. He's gonna be all right.
Yeah, I mean, if he has an off game and he still throws for 365 yards, a touchdown, and he was 22 or 31, so it wasn't that he was inaccurate. The Deadskins, we talking about the Deadskins? They actually look better this year than years ago. The last time they looked good, Joe was their coach. Joe Gibbs. Yeah, we're talking about Deadskins. Commanders, Christina Commanders. But yeah, well, because this just doesn't to me bode well for Ron Rivera. To be honest with you,
Nah, Rivera's done. I
I think
mean, they're gonna toss that entire organization upside down. Um, build
they're,
around,
they're going to say
rebuild around Sam
they're going
Howell.
to say, well, we gave y'all a chance to show us that we weren't going to just come in and clean house immediately. We gave you guys a year to show us something. We ain't really seeing what we want. So thank you for your services, but we're going to move in a different direction.
It's a lot of average there. It's a lot of average there.
A lot.
Dotson, McLaurin, they're still wide receivers. They're both average. Robinson, the
Robinson.
running back they have, average. Howells, he's playing okay, for a first year. Have to see how he goes and if the ownership decides to keep him. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna toss that place, man. It's gonna be looking different down the road next year. Magic changed the name too.
Yeah, he was already talking about that. Props to Magic. He just hit billionaire status, I believe, too. So, congrats to Magic. But what we also saw was Macaulay Culkin throw 28 to 32. I'm sorry, Joe Burrow. Macaulay Culkin. Throw 28 to 32 for 283 and 3 touchdowns. No picks. Very good game. Jamar Chase, 10 receptions for 100 yards. He looked a lot. I mean, I saw him running on that calf. I saw him take hits and get up.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like that bye week gave him some good rest on that leg, and he looked like Joe Cool of old. If people thought the Bengals were out of this thing,
No, and
yeah,
for those in the water cooler that were talking about Burrow might be done because he don't look the same. Look, man, I've had a bad calf too. My calf popped. It takes forever to get over, and it takes even longer to trust it. But once you are over and you do trust it, it's not going to pop again, and you're back to normal play. I mean, I think you're looking at the results right now.
be afraid because he also had 6 rushes for 43 yards.
That's right.
7 yards a run from the quarterback that had said calf injury. So, yeah, I don't think they're dead at all. I think they're concerned. They're concerned. This is Christina. This is why I said earlier about the Ravens. Don't get caught sleeping because the Bengals are coming, the Doo-Doos are coming, and the Steelers are coming. So just understand you can't change divisions. If you were in a totally different division, then I'd say you probably don't have a whole lot to worry about. But the way that AFC North is right now, it is going to come down to the last 2 weeks, if not the last week of the season. I truly believe. I don't think it's going to be decided before then. I don't think before Thanksgiving you're going to know who's winning that division at all. You probably won't even know before Christmas if who's going to win that division. To be honest with you, so
That's going to be tight.
It's going to be tight. So, speaking of your Steelers, slipping while we pimping.
That's okay.
Jaguars. I don't even know what the hell happened. I know one of it was Kenny Pickett got hurt.
Yeah, definitely that.
Kenny Pickett got hurt. Mitch Trubisky came in.
And
did Trubisky things.
And did Trubisky things. That's exactly what happened. Gave one of the worst offensive performance of any quarterback so far this year. That's not my opinion. That's coming straight from Pro Football Focus. One of the worst performances by a quarterback so far this year. Now I was thinking, dang, even worse than like the Atlanta quarterback, worse than some of the games. Like Jesus.
Ritter's pretty bad. 15 to 27, 138 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
Yeah.
Sunshine had 24, 32, 292, 1 touchdown, 1 pick as well. Etienne did a lot of damage on the ground in the air. Evan Ingram, 10 receptions for 88 yards. They just had it clicking a little bit more. Sunshine only had 5 different receivers. That's a little weird. Normally you see anywhere between 7 to 9 in a particular game. So he didn't really spread it around that much, but he got it to the guys that he knew could turn the ball up the field and do some damage and things. So that was good to see that. The Steelers on the other side, you saw Kenny Pickett 10 to 16 for 73 yards before he got replaced by Trubisky because he got hurt. And then you saw, again, another underwhelming game from Najee Harris, 7 rushes for 13 damn yards.
Oh, my God.
Jaylen Warren, 5 carries for 19 yards.
That 19 again. Jesus, what's up with 19 this week?
19, right? You know
Good
what?
Lord.
After the show, we need to go play 19 on some numbers or something. Let's hit a lot of 19. Seeing a whole lot of 19.
Steelers defense, brought it against one of the better teams in the AFC. I mean, the Jags are just that good. They've won, like I said, dating back to last year, they've won 14 out of their last 18. They're very good. Held them to 20 points, but only scored 10. So
I gotta give you another 19. I just told you that Jaylen Warren had 5 carries for 19 yards.
Yeah.
He also had 4 catches
for 19 yards. What the hell? Yeah.
Let's
go play that number.
I'm like, no, that's stupid. So yeah, he did. So yeah, it was a very very rough day for the Steelers. Hopefully they can bounce back from that. But Jags now move up to 6-2, very handedly controlling the AFC South at this minute. So they're doing well too. So we got only a few minutes left. So what games are we watching this week? I know yours is going to be tomorrow because you've got Titans and the Steelers. We saw Will Levis, like I had mentioned before, against the Falcons, ball out a little bit. His debut, 19 to 29, 238 yards, 4 touchdowns. No picks. That bad man Derrick Henry, 22 carries for 101 yards. D-Hop shows up. Now listen to this. 4 receptions, 128 yards. Out of the 4 receptions, 3 of them were touchdowns.
Yep.
Only one.
Mr. Will Levis, I understand you had a very good debut. 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. Tomorrow night, you're going to see a better defense than what you faced this past weekend. You're going to see a number 90 coming after you on the edge, and when he hits you, you're going to be on the ground looking up at him multiple times. You're going to get a true welcome to the NFL tomorrow night. Sunday wasn't your true welcome. Thursday, tomorrow night, is going to be your true welcome to the NFL.
It's a short week. They got that win. Maybe you catch them on cloud 9 a little bit because that's probably some of the most inspired ball they've had all year. If they were able to done that before, maybe AJ Brown would have never went to the Eagles. And if you had AJ and D-Hop, my God, and you got a capable quarterback throwing them the ball, you're right. They're going to see a better defense. What I'm going to be interested to see is how that rush defense does against that bad man. Are y'all going to be able to contain him? Are you going to sit there? Now, are you going to stack the box and dare Levis to beat you with his arm?
That's what I would do. I would definitely do that. I would match up Joey Porter Jr. on the outside. He's got the speed to contain Hops at this stage in Hops' career.
Yeah.
And we're getting Cam Hayward back on the inside. That should help a whole lot as far as the run stuffing ability. So we're going to see. We're going to find out tomorrow. I am worried about Fitzpatrick being out of the game due to a hamstring injury. He's not going to play. That's a big loss for us.
Huge, yeah.
But Kenny Pickett has vowed that he's going to play tomorrow night, so that's good news.
All right, very good. Well, on Sunday, across the pond, in London, I believe, London or Germany, the Dolphins and the Chiefs are going to play. That's going to be an interesting game because that game's got a lot of different things attached to it. Can the Dolphins put the Chiefs down? The Chiefs did not play a good game this past week on Sunday Night Football against the Broncos. I don't know how the Broncos beat them, but they just did not let Mahomes be Mahomes, and that was just weird to be able to see Russell Wilson put up 24 points in the game against the Chiefs 9. I've said the Chiefs have to be careful because it seems like sometimes they play down to their competition and they just expect to be able to flip on a switch. Now, before I start betting against Patrick Mahomes, I will say he's Patrick Mahomes, but the Dolphins got Cheetah, Waddle, Mostert's been running the ball, so we really got to see what they're going to do. And unless y'all done flew Taylor Swift out there, I don't know what Kelsey going to be able to do. That's going to be an interesting game. You got the Falcons and the Vikings. That would not be an interesting game other than the fact that you're going to have Taylor Heineke start his first game, as well as you're going to see Josh Dobbs more than likely end up starting with the Vikings. So that'll be an interesting game to see as well. Other than that, not a whole lot of overwhelming games. You got Rams, Packers. Jordan Love looks confused. Commanders and Patriots, whatever. Saints and the Bears. Go Saints. You got the Cardinals and the Browns. Doo-doo should win that. You got the Giants and the Raiders. The Giants may actually get a win because the Raiders look like a mess. You got the Bengals. Yeah, another doo-doo bowl. You got the Bills and the Bengals Sunday night. That's probably going to be a hell of a game. In addition, which I still don't understand how Cowboys-Eagles ends up being a 425 game. That should be a primetime game. I know this is too early to flex. Y'all need to flex that to Monday night. And
they did play primetime before earlier this year.
Yeah, because we do not need the Chargers and the Jets for Monday Night Football. I will gladly make a trade for the Cowboys and Eagles. Yeah. So the only good thing about them playing on Sunday is that you get to listen to Stephen A. laugh on Monday. Or actually Sunday evening because this game is so early. So we'll see how that goes. And then of course our Carolina Panthers are playing their second home game in 2 weeks against the Indianapolis Colts. Hopefully the run defense comes to play, and we'll see how that goes. Any final thoughts on that?
Good luck, Carolina. Bryce, I want to see you do a multiple touchdown game. See it.
Absolutely. And your guys, Kendrick Cole, are playing in Newton on this coming Saturday?
Yes, sir. Novo Tap Room in Newton, North Carolina. We're starting at 8 o'clock. We'll be done wrapping it up at 11. You guys come out and jam and party with us. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely. Y'all heard it first. So y'all check them out. Make sure you spread the word too. Like their Facebook page, Kendrick Colt, because that way you'll stay updated with everything that they're doing. And then make sure that you share all these events. Local band, y'all. These guys have regular day jobs, so they do this for the love of it, and they're really, really good at it. So show them some love, show them some support. We're going to get out of here this week. Thank y'all for tuning in. Be safe out there. We'll see y'all again next week. Peace.